Okay, it's your coach, Jim Gray. I wanted to set out this little video really fast. I've been I've been having a lot of conversations about this lately, and I thought I would just give you a simple outline for having a powerful and productive accountability conversation with your agents. And may I say, if you have a team, right, then you are in the agent leadership business. You may want to outsource it, right? You may want to ignore it. May want to minimize it, right? Because I get it, agents can make you nuts sometimes. But what I'm telling you is if you have a team, you chose to have a team, so that means you are in the agent leadership business. And may I say, well done over time. As you master that, you will learn to love it, okay? So let me talk about what a simple accountability conversation looks like. I recommend that on a weekly basis, you're meeting one-on-one with your agents, okay? Now the question is, great, Jim, what should we talk about? That's great. Let me simplify that for you, okay? A powerful and productive accountability conversation is going to have a couple elements, right? The first thing you're going to do is go over what is the goal, right? I find it very useful to make sure that in every meeting, right, you ask the agent what their goal is. Never assume they know it. Never assume that, right? They're like everybody else. They plan what the goal is once a year, and then they just drop into a frenzy of activity, and they'll forget the goal. So on a weekly basis with you, they know when they sit down, you're going to make them say out loud what their goal is. It's 24 units, it's 36 units, it's 100 units, whatever it is, right? Okay, what was the actual? So in this meeting, as of right now, where are you actually? And where should you be based on what your goal is? Simple question. What was the goal? What is the actual? And then is there a gap? It's a simple math problem. I said I was going to be here. I'm actually here. So there's a gap of X. Very simple. Very simple. By the way, this bit took exactly 5 minutes or less, probably 3 minutes. Next is, what have you learned? Okay. Now I want to talk about what have you learned. Normally, what rainmakers or team leaders will do is they want to hear the story of why the agent is off gap, the why, or is off goal. That story, I'm just telling you right now, is irrelevant. Do you actually care why? I don't think you do. You just care about how do we get back on goal, right? Here's how you approach that, right? Agent, you're a unit off. What have you learned? Let them speak. You're teaching them gently and powerfully that the story they're creating around the why actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What's more productive is to talk about what you've learned and what is the plan, right? So we don't talk about stories. We talk about what we've learned and what is the plan, okay? So, and then finally is once you've designed the plan, the question is, great, by when? So what is the goal? What is the actual? Is there a gap? What have you learned? What is the plan and by when? This conversation, well executed, can easily take 15 minutes. It's like your listing presentation, right? I'm going to guess if you are a listing agent and you execute at a high level, you're doing the same script, the same presentation, the same choreography in the house, every single listing, right? And you do that because you have discovered that if you do it this way, it gives you the greatest conversion. May I say, your accountability conversations with your agents are the same way. And what will happen with your agents is they will learn over time what the agenda for this conversation is, the information they need to bring to this meeting to be prepared, and you'll find that they'll run the meeting for you. They'll sit right down and go, okay, my goal's 24, and here's where I am. And so I got a gap of this. So here's what I've discovered. They'll motor right through it. Sometimes you'll just look there and smile and either, affirm the plan or give input to the plan. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the plan, all right? When it comes to examining a plan with an agent, This is really important. You want to make sure the plan is SMART. You've heard of the acronym SMART as it pertains to goals. It pertains to plans in exactly the same way. Whatever the plan is, it needs to be simple. It needs to be measurable. It needs to be attainable. It needs to be relevant, and it needs to be time-bound. If the plan isn't simple, the likelihood to execute goes down, right? So as complexity goes up, execution goes down. The enemy of execution is complexity. So part of your job as the leader of this team and the leader of this agent is to make this plan simple. The plan has to be measurable. You know what? I'm low on leads, so I think I'm going to do an open house. Great. How many open houses? Well, I'll do one this weekend. Great. Is that enough to get you to your goal? Yeah, you're right. I probably should do more. Great. How many more? Well, I can do 2 on Saturday. Great. Is that enough? What do you mean? Well, can you do more than 2 on a single day? No, but could you do, if you were looking at 4 weeks, how many do you think you could do? Oh, well, over 4 weeks, I could do 8. Great. Do you think you should do that? Well, I don't think I can do 8, but I can do 6. Great. Do you see how you walk them into the plan and you put measurables on it? The plan needs to be attainable, right? So if somebody's way behind, you know what? That's it. I'm going to make 200 calls a day. Listen, let me ask you something. Have you ever made 200 calls a day? Well, no. Okay. What's the most amount of calls you ever made in a day? Well, when I was in Bold, I made 20 a day. Great. So you're going to go from 20 to 200. Do you think that's reasonable? No. You follow me? So you want to help them make sure that whatever the plan is, it's actually reasonable and can be executed. It needs to be relevant. Okay, this is big. Someone says, here's my plan. My plan is to go to Tahiti for the weekend. Well, okay, I got it. That's kind of interesting. So you think getting more appointments, you're going to help that by going to Tahiti. Does that seem to make sense to you? Right? Make sure the plan is relevant. And then finally, it's always got to be time-bound. This is actually the secret sauce to good accountability, right? It is measurable plus time-bound, okay? So, I'm going to do 2 open houses. Great. By when? Well, I'll do them this weekend. Great. So when you and I meet next week, you will have done how many open houses? 2. Awesome. In those open houses, how many leads do you plan to get? Well, I think I can get 4. Great. So when we meet next time, you'll have done 2 open houses and you'll have put 4 leads into your pipeline. Yes, I will. Great. Conversation over. Right? Now, actually, if you're a ninja, here's where you might go after the SMART assessment, right? You can ask, what might keep you from being successful in executing this plan, right? Interrogate. Well, my daughter's coming into town. Okay, great. That's great. That's awesome. Let me ask you, how do you make sure you take care of your daughter and execute the plan? You follow me? Let them talk through how they can protect the plan. You might ask, what additional training or resources do you need? If the plan is, that's it. I'm really going to hit FSBOs hard. Great. How many FSBOs, right? When was the last time you called a FSBO? Well, I haven't called FSBOs, a couple months. Okay. How's your FSBO scripting? Well, it's not great. Okay. So before the FSBOs, do you think you ought to practice your scripts? Yeah, I should. Great. When are you going to practice? Well, I'll practice today. Great. Will that be enough? No, I probably should practice more than that. Great. How much more? Well, I should practice every day. Great. When will you start? I'll start tomorrow. Great. Who are you going to practice with? Right? This is you focusing on the plan. You're not encouraging them. I mean, this is a general encouragement, but you're focusing on the activities, right? And as you get better at this, you will find as you ask questions and they give the answers, they will design the plan. And when they design the plan, they own the plan. Okay? And then finally, this last question is pretty important. Is there anything you need from me to support you better? I would recommend that you ask this question in a real spirit of curiosity and desire. Here's what I mean. This agent that sits before you joined this team. Do you know why? Not for leads, not for appointments. They joined for you. Because when you told them about what the team did and the value proposition of the team, this person said, you know, I believe what I'm being told, and I can see my life inside of this team. They came to this team for you. They came to this team for you. So if you want to retain an agent, it's not just about splits. It's not just about leads. It's actually more about you pouring into them. And as you pour into them, they will become successful. And trust me, as you pour into people and they become successful, you will find that experience to be very, very rich. Okay? So very simple. What was the goal? What was the actual? Is there a gap? What have you learned? What is the plan? Don't allow stories. You keep it right on. What have you learned? What's the plan? And then simple by when. This whole conversation, as you get better at it, should take 30 minutes or less. All right? Hope that was useful.